When I Fall by Scarlet Emerald 32. Chapter 15.
You are so wrong, it's not even funny.
I am not.
Eugene argued from the other side of the island, pointing the knife he was using at her.
Obi-Wan Kenobi himself came to the conclusion in A New Hope, after his decades in exile, that while he initially believed Anakin to be the chosen one, after his turn to the dark side, that Luke was the most likely candidate.
But then in Return of the Jedi, Anakin kills Palpatine, which in turn destroys the dark side, bringing balance to the Force, making him the chosen one after all.
Yes, but one could argue that his motivation for killing Palpatine was to protect his son, meaning the catalyst for the aforementioned balance was again Luke.
The catalyst isn't the person who did it, though. They're just the reason it was done.
Are you guys fighting?
Rosita walked through the door from her shift on the guard tower and shrugged off her coat.
No, just having a friendly debate, in which Eugene is dead wrong.
I will reiterate that I categorically am not.
He put the last slice of bread on a baking sheet and turned to put it in the oven.
R2.
Rosita came to sit next to her at the island.
Man, something smells good. What you making?
I'm not making anything. Eugene's cooking tonight.
Rosita looked at him in disbelief.
You cook?
I have a very limited range of meals that I feel confident preparing, but it just so happens I make a kick-ass lasagna.
Rosita threw her hands up in the air in frustration and glared at him.
Then why the hell have I been the only one cooking around here for the past month and a half?
Because while I possess the skills, I am not inclined to use them unless given a highly compelling reason.
Oh yeah? Such as?
Date night. He's cooking me dinner, and then we're gonna play Scrabble.
Oh, date night at home. And you're cooking, huh? Very romantic. Should I, make myself scarce for the night? Go hang out at your house or something, Talisa?
Not necessary. This is only the third of the preliminary 5 dates agreed upon before sleepovers become a part of our routine. So I don't imagine there will be any activities taking place that would require you to leave the premises. Am I correct in that assumption, Talisa?
You are. Though fair warning, you may hear some of my more colorful language coming out, depending on how badly he beats me at Scrabble.
Rosita grinned at that.
Now, hold on. While I freely admit my vocabulary is diverse and I have many scientific terms in my arsenal that pack a wallop in terms of their letter score, you, Missy, are a psychiatrist. A word that could earn you upwards of 800 points if played correctly, incidentally, meaning you have attended medical school and have your own arsenal of highly complicated medical jargon that I must contend with.
You see what I mean? He just used about 10,000 extra words to essentially say, you know just as many big words as I do. I'm screwed.
I don't know. Apparently not for 2 more dates.
Talisa gave her a playful punch in the arm as she got up and headed back towards the door.
You know you don't have to leave. We've got plenty of food. I don't want you to feel kicked out of your own house.
Rosita shook her head with a smile as she shrugged her coat back on.
Nope. You guys are on a date. I'm not crashing. I'm sure I can find something to get up to for a few hours.
Tell Spencer I said hi.
Rosita gave her a rude hand gesture over her shoulder as she walked out the door.
I think it's time to think about transitioning to a ponytail haircut. Party is getting pretty long in the back.
Eugene smirked. They were curled up on the couch together and she was absent-mindedly running her fingers through his hair.
I will take that under advisement.
Dinner was great, by the way. You keep cooking like that and I'm going to get spoiled.
Well, as I stated, my cooking skills only apply to a finite number of dishes, but if you ever have a hankering for lasagna, rest assured I am your man.
Damn straight you are.
She leaned over to kiss him softly.
So can I safely assume you have forgiven me for my Scrabble victory?
Her brow furrowed as she glared at him and crossed her arms.
Why'd you have to bring it up? Stupid What the heck is a chi anyway?
I believe it is a concept in Chinese mysticism referring to the life force or energy in every human being.
Okay, so it's possible I've actually heard of that.
He laughed and kissed her again, cupping her cheek in his hand as he did. When she pulled away, she settled in close to him and rested her head against his chest, listening to the steady beating of his heart.
I had an idea today, in our council meeting. After giving it some further consideration, I believe it may very well have merit, but I wanted to run it by you before I brought it to the group as a whole. Do you recall how we were discussing the ever-present issue of our finite supply of ammunition?
Yeah, Rick and Michonne were saying that we're stocked now, but ammo is getting harder and harder to find. And with our new deal with the Hilltop, we're going to have to find alternative ways of getting it. Are you saying you thought of a way for us to find more ammo?
I'm saying, with the proper facility, I believe I may be able to manufacture it for us.
Talisa sat up. She looked down at him in surprise, sure she had misunderstood him somehow.
You want to make bullets?
Yes, I do.
But
She stuttered, still trying to catch up.
how would you even get the materials to do that?
Well, for starters, I would use the spent shell casings from our current bullets as the base. Then it's just about understanding the correct chemical composition to get said casings primed and ready for a second use. Though, I freely admit, it will require us scavenging a substantial amount of lead as well. Glenn mentioned an old machine shop in the town he and the others were driven to by that Walker horde. I was thinking of asking Abraham if he would accompany me out there tomorrow to have a look and assess its potential viability.
As a bullet-making shop.
Talisa was still struggling to wrap her mind around the idea.
Yes, ma'am.
Eugene, I gotta hand it to you.
She shook her head and brushed some of the hair back from where it had fallen in his face.
Sometimes I am still floored by the capacity of this big, crazy, sexy brain of yours. Is there anything you can't do?
I assure you there is plenty, but I am more than happy to lend my knowledge in any way that can be beneficial.
Well, Haircut, this idea goes a little beyond beneficial. You pull this off and I'd put it in the category of game changer.
You seen Daryl?
Denise asked as Talisa passed her outside the medical office.
Yeah, I think he's over at his place, working on that bike he got from the Saviors. Why?
I was looking at this map, and I noticed there's a little apothecary in that strip mall about 20 minutes from here. We've picked over every pharmacy and doctor's office within about a 50 miles radius, but I'm thinking people might have overlooked something like that. Holistic medicine seems too hokey, or whatever. Anyway, I thought it'd be worth a shot.
Yeah, good thinking. And I'm sure Daryl would be happy to make the run for you.
I was actually thinking that I want to go myself. It'll be a lot quicker and easier if I go, seeing as I know what to look for. I'm just gonna ask Daryl and Rosita to back me up and cover my ass so I don't die.
Talisa looked at her curiously.
What's the deal? You've never felt the need to go out on medical runs yourself before. You've always been fine letting others get things for you off of a list. Why the sudden eagerness to head outside the walls? I mean, have you even been outside the walls since you got here?
Well, no, but there's a first time for everything.
And why is this the time?
Denise sighed and kicked at the edge of the sidewalk, crossing her arms across her chest.
Look, you've been doing the bulk of the psychiatry stuff since you got here. Which is good, you should be. You have so much more experience than me, and now that I'm acting as the doctor, I think maybe I have a chance to get through to them. Rosita and Daryl, they're really good, kind people who have been through a lot of shit, you know? I think maybe if I can get them out of here, catch them off guard a little, that maybe I could, I don't know. It's probably a stupid plan anyway.
No, it isn't. I think it's a great idea. You're an amazing doctor and psychiatrist, Denise. I wish you could see yourself the way I see you. Everything you've been through and overcome, you are extraordinary.
Denise gave a small, disbelieving snort.
I'm not sure if holding on by the skin of my teeth while being completely terrified counts as being extraordinary.
Being brave isn't a lack of fear, it's being terrified and showing up anyway. I think you might be one of the bravest people I've ever met.
Denise looked up at her in surprise. Talisa saw tears in her eyes as she stepped forward and wrapped her arms tightly around her.
Thank you, Talisa. You know, with the exception of Tara, I think you might be my favorite person in this place.
High praise, and thanks. You're one of my favorites too. And Daryl and Rosita are lucky to have someone like you having their back.
Denise pulled away and wiped her face quickly as she smiled.
Yeah, let's see if they even agree to this crazy-ass plan to start with.
Talisa gave her one more pat on the shoulder and then walked past her towards Maggie and Glenn's house. Enid was sitting on the porch stairs, so she went and sat next to her.
How's it going?
It's pretty good. I've been working with Maggie on the crops, but with it getting cold, she started thinking maybe we shouldn't plant until spring.
That's probably not a terrible idea. We might want to experiment with the idea of some greenhouses as well, to keep us stocked in the winter months.
Yeah, Maggie had that idea too. She said she wants to talk it over with Eugene, make some blueprints.
He is good at making blueprints.
Enid shot her a smirk before looking back down at her hands.
I think Maggie's working too hard. The stress of everything. I'm worried about her.
Have you talked with Glenn about it?
Yeah, he's worried too, but I mean, what can we do really? She feels responsible for this place. If we try to force her to rest more, she's just going to stress herself out with all this stuff she feels like she should be doing, you know?
That's true. I guess the best thing you can do is just be there for her when you can. Find the ways that she will let you take care of her and capitalize on them.
She's been letting me cook more. She says I make the best baked potatoes.
Well, there you go. You're an invaluable resource.
Talisa gave her a playful nudge in the shoulder, and Enid laughed slightly and shook her head. From down the road, they saw Abraham and Eugene walking in their direction towards the gate.
Where are you two off to?
Eugene asked me to ride shotgun on a scouting mission for him, though he has yet to tell me what the hell kind of mission I'm riding shotgun on.
As I've already told you, I would prefer to scout the potential location to assess its eligibility before I reveal my master plan, as it were.
Is this the same master plan we were discussing last night?
The very same.
Okay, now how is that fair? She's not even going on the damn mission. How come she gets the intel and I'm left with my ass hanging in the breeze?
He shot a quick look at Enid.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, kid.
No worries.
Because I'm the girlfriend. Girlfriends are always the first to get the need-to-know information. It's one of the perks. If you'd like, you're welcome to make out with him and see if it makes him more inclined to share his secrets with you.
I assure you it would not.
Enid gave a snort of laughter and shook her head as she stood up and walked down the steps.
You guys are so weird. I'll talk to you later.
See ya, Enid.
Enid responded with a vague wave as she headed down the street, and Talisa turned back to Abraham and Eugene and fixed the former with a pointed look.
So you've got his back out there, right?
Always have. Don't see much sense in stopping now, but you should know more than most. Our buddy Eugene is a bona fide badass now. New hairdo, his own weapon, pretty girlfriend. He's a new man.
Or maybe he was always that man. He just needed a chance to show everyone.
She got off the steps and walked over to Eugene. She grabbed the front of his coat and pulled him in, giving him a firm kiss.
You be careful out there, okay?
I fully intend to.
All right, enough of that. Let's get a move on while we've still got daylight.
Eugene gave her one more quick kiss and then turned to head out the gate with him. Several hours later, after going over their inventory with Olivia and discussing what they were planning to barter with the Hilltop at their next exchange, Talisa was headed back towards the gate to check in and see if there had been any sign of Eugene and Abraham. As she did, she noticed Gabriel sweeping the stoop at the church. As she walked by, he raised a hand and waved slightly. She was seized by a sudden impulse and walked over.
How's it going, Gabriel?
Fairly well. I feel like I'm finally making this place my own. Ideally, I'd like to have a few more people in my Sunday service, but all things considered, I'd say I'm lucky to have the flock that I do, meager as they may be.
How long have you been a priest, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, goodness, 15? No, almost 20 years. So much has happened. There are times I feel like that life is 1,000 years behind me.
Do you still believe?
Gabriel looked up at her in surprise.
I grew up going to church, and I always believed in something. A higher power, if you will. But with the world the way it is now, I can't help but wonder if God is real. Where the hell is he?
Gabriel gave her a sad smile and walked down the steps to put a gentle hand on her arm.
Believe me, I ask myself that exact question every single day.
And how do you reconcile it? Not ever getting an answer?
Faith?
Of course that's your answer.
Gabriel chuckled slightly, when suddenly the sound of gunfire ripped through the air. There were multiple guns firing all at once in a volley of noise. Both Talisa and Gabriel looked around frantically, trying to find the source of the sound.
It's coming from outside the walls.
Eugene and Abraham are out there. Rosita, Daryl, and Denise, too.
She took off running for the gate and got there at the same time as Rick, Michonne, Maggie, and Glenn.
You heard it too?
Talisa nodded.
Who of our people are out there?
Eugene, Abraham, Daryl, Rosita, and Denise.
Denise? Why the hell would she go out there?
She wanted to go check an apothecary for medical supplies.
They stood there as the silence seemed to press in around them. Just as Talisa started to feel like it might never end, they heard shouting. At first it was far away and barely intelligible, but after a moment it got closer, and they began to make out words.
Open the damn gate.
That's Abraham.
She and Rick ran to throw open the gate. Abraham, Rosita, and Daryl were running up the road towards them, carrying a third person between them who was unconscious and covered in blood.
Oh God, no!
Her legs gave out as the reality of what she was seeing crashed in around her. Rick wrapped an arm around her quickly to keep her from dropping to the ground, but she began to shake as they came closer.
He's alive!
Rosita yelled as she saw the look on Talisa's face. They came even with the group, and Talisa pulled out of Rick's arms and ran to examine Eugene.
He got shot, but he's alive. We need to get him up to the med bay so you can look at him.
What do you mean, so I can look at him? Why would I need to be the one to look at him? Where's Denise?
Denise is gone.
Another wave of pain and disbelief hit Talisa, and she stepped back, shaking her head.
What do you mean she's gone?
She's dead. Saviors killed her.
Another emotional blow.
What do you mean the Saviors killed her? You killed the Saviors. You said you took them all out.
Look, obviously we've got an ass ton of things we need to hash out. But right now, I am holding my unconscious friend with a gunshot wound in his side. And I kind of think that should be our priority.
Right. Let's get him up to the med office and I'll have a look.
They carried Eugene up the stairs and put him on the operating table. Talisa removed his coat with trembling hands so she could examine his left side, where it seemed the majority of the blood was coming from. She pushed his shirt aside and let out a long, slow breath as the panic and tightness in her chest began to ease. She looked over her shoulder at Rosita, who was hovering there nervously watching.
It's okay. It looks like the bullet just grazed him. I'm going to stitch him up before he comes to. Any idea how he got knocked out?
Rosita pressed her hands to her eyes.
Butt of a rifle to the back of his head. Saviors ambushed us at the railroad tracks. They'd already got him. They walked him out and kneeled him down in front of us. Would have gotten us all if Abraham hadn't showed up. Well, if Abraham hadn't shown up and then Eugene hadn't distracted them.
Talisa paused in her stitching to look up at her in surprise.
He did that?
Oh yeah, he was a total badass. You would have been proud of him.
I am proud of him.
She finished his stitches and placed a bandage across his ribs. She sat back and brushed her finger across his forehead and down the side of his face as he slept.
How did Denise die?
One of the saviors shot her with Daryl's crossbow. Remember how he said someone took it off him a few weeks ago? Well, the asshole came back. Told Daryl he was aiming for him but didn't account for the kick.
What a bastard. He's gonna take it really hard, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Rosita got up and headed for the kitchen in the corner of the office. She opened the bottom cabinet with her boot and pulled out a bottle of amber liquid.
I don't know about you, but I need a drink.
The door opened again and Abraham came back in.
How is he?
Bullet just grazed him. He's gonna be okay.
Abraham let out a sigh of relief as he came over and sat down on Eugene's other side.
The antibiotics we got might save his life. Make sure he doesn't get an infection. That's what Denise did.
Talisa gave her an appreciative look before turning back to Abraham.
What happened out there? How the hell did they get him?
Abraham sighed again and looked down at his hands, picking at the grayed edge of one of his fingerless gloves.
It was my fault. We got in an argument, and he pissed me off, so I left him. Told him to find his own damn way home. I left him out there to get nabbed. I'm so sorry.
Well, if what Rosita says is true, you also saved his life. So, I guess just this once, I'll give you a pass. But if you ever ditch him when you're supposed to be looking out for him again, you and I are going to have an issue. Understood?
Understood.
Eugene shifted and began to stir. They both turned their attention quickly back to him, and Talisa grabbed his hand, holding it tightly in both of hers. He squinted slightly as he opened his eyes. He looked around in slight confusion until his eyes found her, and he smiled slightly.
Hey, Haircut. You back with us?
Present and accounted for. And while I have to say, waking up to your face is a dream I've been harboring for quite some time, I would have preferred it under much different circumstances.
Both Talisa and Abraham chuckled. Eugene turned his attention to the latter, and Abraham sighed as he leaned over, resting his elbow on the bed to look at him.
I want you to know I was not trying to kill you. I was simply looking for my moment.
Well, you found it.
Do you apologize for doubting my skills?
Abraham shook his head slightly and chuckled.
I apologize for doubting your skills. You know how to bite a dick, Eugene, and I mean that with the utmost respect.
Talisa raised an eyebrow in confusion and looked between them. Abraham opened his mouth to no doubt explain, but at the last second she held a hand up to stop him.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and let that one remain a mystery.
Both men smirked, and Abraham put a hand on Eugene's arm and gave it a squeeze.
Welcome to stage 2, Eugene.
No need to welcome me. I've been here a while.
Abraham nodded, patting his arm one more time before looking up at Talisa and Rosita as he spoke again.
Rick wants to have a meeting about what happened out there. Told me to check up on Eugene here, and then have you two head over to his house once you got him stable. Said you should get Enid to come sit with him.
All due respect, as long as I am ambulatory, there is no earthly way, barring physically restraining me in this bed, that you or anyone else is going to prevent me from attending that meeting.
He slowly sat up and grimaced as he compressed his torso. Talisa put a hand on his shoulder and helped guide him until he was sitting on the edge of the bed.
The bullet just grazed you, but your ribs are going to be pretty sore for a while. And I want you to take it easy and try not to do anything too strenuous. Move carefully, okay? I don't want you ripping those stitches.
Understood.
Rosita, do you think you could run back to your place quick and get him a clean shirt? Button down preferably. I don't want him to lift his arms above his head if he doesn't have to.
On it.
It only took her about 5 minutes to come back with the dark green button-down shirt Eugene had worn on Thanksgiving. Talisa helped him put it on, and then she and Abraham helped him down the stairs, and they made their way slowly over to Rick's home. When they went inside, they found the majority of the people in their group were already standing or sitting there. When Rick saw Eugene, he raised his eyebrows in surprise.
Eugene, didn't expect you to be up and around yet.
He probably shouldn't be, but he flat out refused to sit out of this meeting.
Talisa and Abraham helped Eugene sit down on one of the couches, and she took a seat next to him as he slipped her hand into his.
So what happened out there?
We were on our way back, and we got ambushed. They killed Denise, held us at gunpoint, and then revealed that they'd already grabbed Eugene. They threatened to kill us all if we didn't bring them back and let them in here.
You said they were saviors. Well, what makes you think that?
The main one. He was the prick who took my crossbow when I was out on the run a few weeks ago. He killed Denise with it. Told me I should have killed him when I had the chance. First time I ran into him, his girl, and her sister were on the run from the saviors. I saw when they finally caught up with them. Some of the same guys were there today, so I guess he went back.
I can confirm that they were in fact saviors. When they abducted me, I heard them conversing not only about their activities, but also about Negan and his desire to invade Alexandria.
Maggie looked up sharply, first at Eugene and then at Rick.
How is that possible?
Eugene, we killed Negan. I was standing right there when he told Rick who he was, and then Rick put a bullet between his eyes. Are you sure they were talking about him in the present? Not that Negan wanted them to find Alexandria?
I assure you their conversation was in the context of Negan's current wishes. I would also point out that even if I had misheard, it's highly unlikely that Negan would have a plan to invade us before we conducted that raid, seeing as the evidence suggests he was unaware of Alexandria prior to that incident.
He's right,
Sasha agreed.
Deanna never mentioned anything about Negan or these saviors, so it stands to reason that before we got involved, this place wasn't on their radar.
Rick sighed and rubbed his hands across his face.
You said they wanted you to bring them back here. Does that mean they don't know where we are yet?
No, they know. He made sure to let us know how pretty our community looked. They didn't need us to find it, just to get through the gates.
If they're trying to negotiate their way inside with hostages, maybe it means they don't actually have the manpower left to take this place by force. Sounds like we hit them pretty hard in that raid. Maybe they can't risk losing any more in an all-out fight. That makes the advantage ours.
Or maybe they're trying to minimize the fallout because they want our resources, and an all-out fight would risk losing them. If that's the case, it's only a matter of time until they get tired of waiting.
Man, this is the exact same bullshit we went through at the hilltop. We killed a prick who called himself Negan. Now these assholes are talking about somebody else being Negan. There is no goddamned Negan.
Daryl pushed the chair he was leaning against hard and began to pace.
Negan is a fucking boogeyman they made up to scare weak-ass people into giving them their shit. And you're letting them. I'll tell you what we need to do. We need to get our asses back out there and follow their tracks back to wherever the rats are hiding and then finish this.
Morgan pushed himself angrily off the wall where he was leaning and took a step towards Daryl.
Finish it how? With more killing, right? They killed the people at Hilltop, so you killed their people, and then they killed Denise, and you killed more of them, and now you really think the answer to ending it is more killing. Don't you understand? The killing never ends, unless you choose to end it.
Man, if I'd chosen to kill that asshole who took my crossbow the first time I saw him, Denise would be alive right now.
Maybe she would. And maybe if you all had taken my advice and tried to reason with these saviors instead of killing them all, they wouldn't have been trying to kill any of you in the first place.
Man, you don't know.
Daryl, stop. He's right. Morgan's right.
Both Daryl and Rick turned to look at her in confusion.
What do you mean he's right?
The killing has to stop. This can't be the way we handle things anymore. We have to find a way to be better.
Daryl looked at her in disgust, as if he was looking at a stranger. Then he turned and stomped towards the door.
Daryl, wait. We need to figure out our next moves. You need to be part of it.
Nah, figure it out yourselves. I'm done.
He shot back without turning or slowing down. They heard the front door slam, and there was a ringing silence that followed. After another moment, Rick spoke again.
I have a proposal. And I'm going to be honest, I know not all of you are going to like it. But until we can get a clearer picture of what we're facing, I think we need to take a step back and make sure we have our house in order.
You saying we do nothing, Hoss? One of them damn saviors just popped our group's only doctor straight through the noggin like William tells Apple, and almost took out our most valuable intelligence resource. And you're proposing we sit around here with our thumbs up our asses waiting to see what happens next?
The alternative is storming into whatever setup they have blind and hoping we have the numbers and the skill to take them. I'm not proposing we do nothing. I'm proposing we be strategic. When the sun comes up tomorrow, we go get Denise's body and make sure we take care of her. Then let's sit down and make a plan for how we want to proceed. It doesn't sound like the saviors are actively targeting us.
Yet?
Rick met Maggie's eye, and after a moment he gave a heavy sigh and nodded in agreement.
We have the upper hand right now, because we now know they're still out there, and we know what they want. They want what we have, just like every other group who has ever tried to take us out. We'll do reconnaissance, scope out who they are and where they are, and when the time is right, we'll take care of it. Defense first, and offense only when we're absolutely sure we can win. Is everyone in agreement?
After a long moment, there was a muttering of assent from around the room. When I Fall is a work of fiction based on AMC's The Walking Dead. Any characters not created by the author are the property of said company. The story will continue in the next chapter.